Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Erin, a military spouse and teacher turned photographer, and in this series, I am bringing you along for the ride as I prepare my business for yet another move. As a military family, this is our third move in 4 years, so it's safe to say I've done this a few times, and I know how isolating and overwhelming it can feel. So, my hope is that by showing you what's going on behind the scenes of my business here, it'll make it feel a little easier and maybe less overwhelming for you the next time you have to do it. So, I am 2 months out right now. My big business tasks this month were to redo my cost of doing business and update all of my SEO on my website. So let's come along. I'll show you what that looked like on the back end, and then be sure to stick around for the end because I have some big personal news to share as well. Let's dive in. Okay, hey there. I just finished running my cost of doing business, and I want to share a little bit with you about what the process looked like and what I'm going to do with the results because I'm actually not going to do exactly what they suggest that I should. So, first of all, this tool is one that Matt and I created together, and it's actually linked in my freebie 5 Ways to PCS Prep Your Business. So, you can find that in the description below. If you're interested in using this, you can get it there. And if you haven't ever done this before, I highly recommend it. You guys know I'm also a math teacher, and so I firmly believe in looking into your numbers and figuring out what you need to do to charge to be profitable. And this is a great way to start doing that. So, just to kind of walk you through what this looked like for me, first thing is to decide how much you want to make in a year. And I know there's a ton of people that talk about wanting to make six figures, and I'm just going to go out and say that that's not my goal. And I think it's okay that that's not my goal. My goal going into next year would be to make $65,000. And so I entered that into my first box here. And then the next step is to think about what my desired workload is. So, in my perfect world, I want to shoot 2 full sessions a week, host mini sessions once a quarter, and shoot 2 military events a month, which comes out to 24 for the year. So, in addition to that, I'm thinking about vacation as well. I'd like to give myself 2 full weeks of vacation throughout the year. And so I've got that included here too. So, thinking about how much I want to make, how often I want to shoot, the next step then is to be really honest about how much time I spend on each of the different types of shoots that I do. So I won't read you all of the numbers, but all of my shooting, traveling, culling, editing, all of that kind of time for full sessions, for a day of minis, and for my military events. And when you look at this, you can see that events and mini sessions take a lot longer than a full session does, which I think makes sense. But that is going to play into the numbers and actually is the reason for the results that I don't love. But we're going to get to that. But after entering in all of those hours, the next thing to do is to get serious about expenses. And so I've entered all of my expenses into the spreadsheet here. I went into QuickBooks, which is where I do all of my bookkeeping, and I looked at different things that charge monthly versus annually and just added all of my numbers here, or my best projections at different numbers based on past experience. And so I've got all of my expenses, everything that I'm going to spend money on in the business for next year included here. And then the calculations tab is where all of the math happens. This isn't really formatted for you to dig into much. So I'm going to skip this for now and then jump to the recommendations tab, which is where we see what the recommended prices are for my different sessions. Now, these are calculated with a 20% expected underbooking so that you have a little bit of wiggle room with trying to meet your goals if you don't quite book as many sessions as you expect. So with this, the recommendation is showing that I charge $648 for full sessions, $150 for mini sessions, and $1,200 for events. Now, this is purely based on my numbers, what my goal salary is for the year, how often I want to shoot, and how long it takes me on the different types of sessions. What this doesn't include is all of my knowledge about the market in different places that I've lived, what my experience shows that I can charge, and that is what I'm a little unhappy with. Now, I think that's okay. It's good to know the numbers. I want to know what the math tells me exactly what I should charge, but I have to balance that with, I'm going to call it reality. Looking at this, I know from my experience, I can charge more than $648 for a full session. I can definitely charge more than $150 for mini sessions. And $1,200 for a retirement or promotion feels astronomical to me. Just based on my experience booking in other places. My current event price is significantly lower than that, and I already feel like I am on the high end and I don't book as many of those as I want. So there's a few things that I could dig into there. If I wanted to go with these prices, I could spend a lot of time really upping my client experience and my marketing and all of that in the event realm. But rather than do that, I am going to make some different changes to the pricing in order to kind of still balance everything out. It's going to change my hourly rate and how much time I end up spending, but I think I will be more likely to book at these other prices. So how did I do this? Well, looking at my calculations, I can see that with the 20% attrition, I need to book 80 full sessions, 26 mini sessions, and 20 events over the course of the year. So I included those here. I have the different number of sessions. And then I pause there for a minute and I'm thinking about just the gross minimum I need to make in general. Now, to make this really simple, however much money I want to make, which I said was $65,000, plus however much I'm going to spend on the business, about $15,000, $16,000, has to equal the amount of money that I need to bring in, okay, which is around $80,000. So then I started playing with, well, how can I book these same number of sessions and still make about $80,000? Well, based on increasing my current full session by just a little bit, I could make my full sessions $725. My mini sessions, I currently charge $249 as the base fee plus, whatever. If I'm renting a studio or something like that, then that might change a little bit. But I am confident that I can charge $249 for my mini sessions. And looking at those totals, that allows me to bring my event price down to $825 from the $1,200 that was originally recommended. So again, I'm getting paid less per hour now for my events, but I'm getting paid more per hour for my full sessions. And so in my head, it kind of balances out. So I think using this as a starting point was very helpful. And it kind of gives me targets of what to work for, especially in the military event package. Just really keeping in mind and maybe including that as in my marketing in some creative way about, how I'm structuring this package to be more attainable for military families who want to book me for a retirement or a promotion or something like that. Really leaning into the value there because I know I'm making less per hour than I, quote, need to be based on my numbers. So it's given me a lot to think about. It's given me prices that I feel good about going into my new assignment. Again, I'm starting in a new market, so I need to feel it out for myself. I have lots of ideas based on my previous experience and what I'm seeing looking at other photographers' websites and things in the Colorado Springs area. But some of this is just going to need to come down to the experience that I have once I get there. But stay tuned. I recommend doing this once a year. So in about a year, I'm going to do this again. We'll adjust my numbers as needed. But at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take these prices that I've decided on, update my website and my pricing guide so that I can start sending that out to my future clients. All right, friend, let's get into these SEO updates. To be honest with you, this is never my favorite part, but it is so important to do them before you move so that your website can start to work for you in the new location before you ever even get there. Now, as I've shared over the last couple months, I am a bit behind where I'd like to be just because our timeline has gotten shifted a bit, but today is the next best day to get it done because you really, really want to get this done before you get out to where you're going next. So I'm going to tackle here the big SEO updates. I need to update my page title, my meta descriptions, all of my web copy, and then the big one is the alt text. So we're going to start with the first three. I'm going to do this on my home page, my family page, and my military event page. And I'm just going to show you what I'm doing as I'm going through it. So starting on my home page here, I am going to optimize this page for the key phrase Colorado Springs photographer. That's what I want to show up as a Google search result for. So I need to use that phrase in all of the places I mentioned a second ago: page title, meta description, alt text, and web copy. So thinking about that here, I'm going to start with, let's do my page title and meta description since that's open already. I'm going to change my page title to Erin Thompson Photography and then Colorado Springs photographer. That is 57 out of 60 characters that are allowed, so I'm good there. If I needed to shorten it, I would probably get rid of photography and just keep my first name. So if you have a long name and that doesn't work for you, that's a little idea that you could use, I suppose. But this is going to be the new page title that comes up for my home page. And then for the meta description, I'm going to update the whole thing actually. And I'm going to use the key phrase first. So Colorado Springs, that's not how you spell Colorado. Springs photographer. Typing's hard. Offering natural, joyful photography for families and military events. That's what I do. Okay, and then we're going to say learn more about working with Erin Thompson so that we can include my name as part of that meta description as well. So I've got Colorado Springs photographer in my page title. I've got Colorado Springs photographer in my meta description. I suppose I could make that a lowercase p there. Okay, and now I want to be using Colorado Springs photographer in my web copy as well. So the first place I notice that I need to do that is right here. I'm going to update this. And then of course I will need to adjust text size and things to make it fit. I think I'll go a little smaller there, and let's write a line, and I want to line it up with that period at the end there. That's getting a bit close to the hey there, so I'm gonna just shift things a little bit here to make it line up nice. Okay, I think I like that. I might bump that left a little. Okay. From lifestyle newborn to military events and beyond, I specialize in military family photography in, I'm going to change this to Colorado Springs. I would love the opportunity to serve you and your crew. Now, I don't love that I have just one word on this final line, so I'm going to see what I would need to adjust here to make that work. I don't know that I love that either. What if I go the other way? Let's see. I think I like that spacing better, and I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this underline. Let's see, I got to find where that is. This one. I think I'm okay with that here. And I just want to line this up as best I can. If I square off the ends maybe, yeah, I like that better. And I'm going to align that on the end as well. So now I'm kind of missing that color. So if let's do this. I'm going to make it visible on desktop, but not mobile. I'll switch that, and I think I'm just going to underline military family. This is not an SEO thing, but sometimes I find that design has to change a little bit when I update my SEO, because in this case, the text that I was adding doesn't have the same number of characters as the text that was there previously. And so I've got to tweak a little bit. So let's see. I'm going to pull this down here so that it goes underneath. And I might just do 2 of them. Let's see. You guys get to see me thinking on the spot here. See what I like best. Military family photography. We'll slide this down again here. I think I like that. Brings a little bit more blue in. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out. Let's see. That looks good. Okay, so I've got Colorado Springs photographer. Again, that's my key phrase on here. I didn't use it in the paragraph text as well. I want to find a way to work it in naturally. I don't want it to just be like my keywords stuffed all over this page. So I'm going to leave it like that in the intro. I could work it into paragraph text here, though I'm not going to do that right now. I may go back and do that later, but let's see. I've got my links to all the pages. Know where to add that there. A few favorites. Okay, and then coming down to my footer, I updated this in last month's video, but I didn't update it down here. I'm going to change Dayton family to Colorado Springs photographer, and then again, I will have to adjust my text box. There we go. Now, what I didn't do a minute ago was look at how this played out on my mobile version. I don't know about you, but the mobile version sometimes is like the bane of my existence. I feel like I get it great on desktop, and then I have to do it on mobile, and it's like, oh, I hate doing that. But it's never as bad as I actually make it out to be. So let's zoom back in. I like that military family here is highlighted. I think that's good. And then let's find that second shape. It was this one. We're going to make that visible here. And I am going to drag that over to photography. Adjusting the layering here. Underline that. Let's see how that looks. I think I'll make it a little bit thinner. And there we go. So we got a little extra color added in there too. Okay, so at this point, I think my homepage is in good shape in terms of the title, the meta description, my paragraph text. Again, I might go back and fix this one. We'll see. Not really fix, just enhance, I suppose. So the last thing I need to do on this homepage is my alt text. So the main images that I'm going to do this on are the gallery scroll at the top here. So in Show It, when you click on this, you can go to the gallery images, and then when you click on each one, it gives you the option to add alt text. Now, a really important thing to remember here, similar to what I talked about a minute ago about stuffing your keywords on a page, I don't want to just make the alt text for all of these Colorado Springs photographer, okay? If Google sees that you are just stuffing the same keywords on all of your images and all over your pages, you're actually going to rank worse than if you find natural ways to use them in ways that make sense, okay? So this first image, I don't currently have any Dayton-based SEO keyword on here. I just say it's a pilot holding a sun in the air in front of Marine One. And honestly, I'll probably leave that here, okay? If I go to the next one, I've got the newborn smirk. This one, mom holding a new baby at a lifestyle newborn session in Alexandria. So I didn't change this from the last move. Whoops. I'm going to go in here and try to find a way to naturally work in the key phrase Colorado Springs photographer. So mom holding new baby at a lifestyle newborn session. I'll just take this by a Colorado Springs photographer. Again, that can be lowercase. And as a shortcut, since I'm going to be copying this phrase a lot, I'm going to Control-C and copy that so I can paste it into new images and just make that go a little faster. Okay, so I've changed this alt text to now have my key phrase. Baby in the foothills here. This one I can leave. I'm pretty much just going to go through, and unless I see something that's blatantly wrong or from a previous assignment, whether it says Dayton or Alexandria, I'll probably change that. But otherwise, I really want to make sure I'm not trying to put my key phrase in every single image. Okay. So here's one that says Northern Virginia. Wow, I must have totally forgotten to update these last move. good news is I'm still ranking on the first page for date and family photographer, so it hasn't hurt me that much, but not a good thing to miss. Lifestyle newborn session. Again, I'll do by a Colorado Springs photographer. I love this shot. This one's got my business name worked in. Here we go. Oh, I did change this one. Okay. By a Colorado Springs photographer. Mom holding her baby. Sandia Peak. That was an Albuquerque shot. I'll probably leave it. That's okay. This one I will update by a Colorado Springs photographer. Though, and actually on this one I can probably take out the fact that it's in front of the Capitol because I'm not DC based anymore. So just maybe close up of mom hugging her son by a Colorado Springs photographer. Okay, here's an easy swap. Got two more here. No key phrase there, and that's okay. This one doesn't even have alt text, so we'll say close up of a girl twirling by a Colorado Springs photographer. Okay, so again, this is the tedious stuff. I don't love this, you guys, but it's important to do to help your page rank on Google. So I am all set now with my gallery images. If I go to my main image here, I'll update Colorado Springs photographer there. When you have it as the background, I'm not sure that you have a spot for alt text. So we'll just keep rolling on these. Looks like these ones I did update. That is a different image now. Pilot, exiting, we'll call it HMX1. Greeting his family. I've learned that there's a technicality between it being HMX1 and Marine 1, and it has to do with whether or not the president is on board. So, total side note here, but since the president's not on board, it's not technically called Marine 1. This last one is Erin Thompson working on her laptop. Okay. These are all blog cover images. I think I'll make these the title. Of the blog and then make it the cover image. All right, so my home page is now done. I'm going to move on to, let's see, I'll do my families page next. And we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to go through page title, description. This one, the web copy is already done. I mentioned in the last video that this is a new page, so I added my key phrases to it as I was going through. So I won't have to do that here. My footer updated from the last one. So the big thing on here, especially since I've got a lot of gallery images here, we'll be doing the alt text on those images. But let's start page title. I'm gonna use my key phrase first. And on this page, I'm going with Colorado Springs family photographer. Super important SEO tip here is you never want to optimize different pages for the same word or phrase, because then those pages will be competing against each other. So my home page was Colorado Springs photographer, which means I don't want to optimize any other pages for Colorado Springs photographer. This one I'm going to make Colorado Springs family photographer, so that if someone Googles that, then my family packages page will come up as a result for that. Again, I'm going to put my name in here. And in this one, I'm going to hit my 60 characters. So I'm just going to make it Erin Thompson instead of Erin Thompson Photography. Okay, and then for my meta description, we will do Colorado Springs family photographer, specializing in natural, fun, joyful images. And then again, use my name. So learn more about working with Erin Thompson. Okay, so we've got the full meta description here. Again, using the key phrase Colorado Springs family photographer to start, a little more about what I do, and then using my name as well, or more about working with me. Okay, so that's all set. Quick scroll back through here. There's nowhere in the copy that I need to update it again. So we are going to roll into alt text again. So this one I have, let's say, parents with their baby and pup, taken by a Colorado Springs family photographer. I'm going to Control C this again so that I have easy access to the key phrase that I'm using. This is going to be mom and her daughter with mountains in the background, again by a Colorado Springs family photographer. Here we go, mom holding her baby. And then this one is a gallery, actually. You only see one here, but I'm going to go through and add them the same way I did before. So this is a close-up family shot of two parents and their son and daughter. Again, I'm not going to work it in this time, trying not to do it in every single one. I love this shot. Black and white shot of parents laughing towards their son. And then one more, we'll do close-up shot of mom and her toddler by a Colorado Springs family photographer. Okay, I'm not going to make you watch me do all of this because it's a lot, but hopefully this gives you an idea of the kind of changes I'm making to tell Google what kind of photographer that I am. So to wrap it up, I'm not going to record anymore because this is too much to watch, but I'm going to go through all of these images in this gallery. That's a lot of them. And then I'm going to go to my military page, and I'm going to do the same thing on all of these images and on all of these in my scrolling gallery, all of these. And then if you'd like, I will link my website in the description of this video so that if you want to see what it looks like all done, you can see the final product there. But hopefully that helps with some SEO. I've got another video on SEO that goes into a lot more detail about how I optimize my website. So you can check that out if you're looking for more info on that too. But I hope a peek at what this looks like behind the scenes for me has been helpful for you. Well, that's it for the move prep on the business side this month. But the big personal news is that we closed on our house. And it is hard for me to tell you how excited I am about this house. It is in a great neighborhood, a beautiful location, pretty close to the mountains. I'm going to have an office that has a door that closes. I know, it's a really high bar. And my kids are going to have a lot of, open space in the basement to build forts, which is like their favorite thing in the world right now. So we're just really, really looking forward to the house, which is good because I am already dreading some of the goodbyes that are going to come here in the next few weeks in Ohio. And so I feel like having something to look forward to once we get out to Colorado has been really helpful mentally. Now, if you've been following along, you know that the journey to buying a house was not an easy one for us. Between my identity theft and the government shutdown, it felt like the odds were stacked against us in a lot of ways, and we had to pivot quite a few times, but we did it and we figured it out. Now, the downside, I suppose, is that we are still waiting on orders. We've been assured multiple times that Colorado is where we're going, but the paperwork would be great. And since we don't have that yet, we weren't able to get the waiver that we needed for the VA loan to waive the occupancy rule. And so I will be moving out before the rest of my family to meet the terms of our loan. I talked more about that in a previous video, and it was kind of up in the air as to how that was going to go. But turns out I am going to move out early, which is not ideal. But as with all things, I am determined to make the best of it. So stay tuned over the next month as the final details come together. We're still working out a little bit of the logistics there. But that is the plan at this point, and it does feel good to me to know that this truly is my 2 months out. For the last couple of months, it's been kind of up in the air as to what was actually going to happen. But now I know my actual timeline, unless things change drastically for some reason, but we don't have any reason to believe at this point that they are going to, other than, the Air Force is going to Air Force sometime. But anyway, that's all I got for you this month. Thanks so much for being here, for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the comments below, and I will see you next time.